So last year, 2 years ago, I did a stream saying, my gaming backlog is so just unwieldy, disorganized. I want to do a stream where I get things going, get everything set up, give myself a plan for 2023. And 2023, I played a bunch of games, had a great time. Started 2024, I did a stream like this where I just talked about the games that I had played in the prior year. Talked about what I completed, what I stopped playing, what my favorite games of the year were. I had a great time doing that, and I want to do it again. A little bit less statistical this time. And I'm just here to talk about the games that I played and what I liked. So last year, I opened up with like, here's all the games that I dropped, and then here's all the games that I played, and then here are the top 5 games. This year, just to kind of like shake things up, I just kind of lumped everything into one big pile and then just randomized it. So this is just a completely random ordered list. So when I talk about a game, if it's just one of my top 5, I'm going to say, this is one of my top 5 games of the year. And then once we hit the end of the list, I'm going to show you what the top 5 ranked are, because I cannot get enough of ranking things on a numbered list. Who can? Let's go ahead and just get things started. It's my 2024 gaming backlog. I played more games this year. I'd say I played about 30 games. Completed or dropped in some regard. 30 games that I felt I had enough to like say something about. I want to say the year before it was like closer to like 50, but also there was a lot of games in there that I like played for an hour, went no, drop it, and then just like didn't really have anything interesting to say, or even just like games I just kind of like blasted through in it. So, and also some of the games that I played this year were just really long. I played a lot of long games this year, folks, which we're about to get into. This year, I played more Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. This is a game that was on my 2023 list. Last year, I played... Not last year. In 2023, I completed... Well, actually, that's kind of loud. Give me 1 second. I completed Village Low Rank, Village High Rank, and then Hub Low Rank and Hub High Rank, which means the only thing I had left to do was Hub G Rank. So there wasn't a ton left of this game to play, but G rank is, I mean, if you've played Monster Hunter World or Monster Hunter Rise, it's master rank. So it's kind of difficult, especially in older gens, where in more modern Monster Hunters, the game difficulty is scaled depending on how many players are in the lobby with you. In the old games, it's not. So playing these solo are actually quite difficult. So it was a bit of a time investment. Also, they shut down these servers for old Monster Hunter games for the 3DS specifically. So you can still play Generations Ultimate on Switch. But this is a 3DS game / Wii U, which had no way to like officially play online anymore. And I had to beat Goldbeard Cedius, which is quite difficult. So I downloaded an emulator and had a friend connect, and we figured out some hacky multiplayer way to get through that. I did beat Dire Morales alone. I still love this game. I said it last year. It's hard to really explain why this is one of my favorite Monster Hunters. I just really dig the vibes. I really dig the combat. There's just something about it. Love it. Highly recommend. If it had just like a little bit more quality of life, like item sets, I think it would go a long way in making this like very timeless. But if you're willing to deal with like a little bit of cruft, highly recommend this game. I played Star Ocean Second Story R, I think is the title of that. Wow, what a phenomenal video game. I've never played the original Star Ocean 2, but I did play the PSP remake, port, whatever you want to call it. I had so much fun playing this. It's almost like with the way the specialty systems work, or the customization, whatever you want to call them, the specializations. It's almost like you're playing an RPG where the developers left like the developer console in the game. Like as soon as that thing opens, you just blow the doors wide off. Just like, okay, well now I'm creating an item that puts my experience to one experience needed to get to the next level. I'm crafting end game gear right out of the opening city. I'm Sorry, I immediately lost my train of thought when I hear this cacophony of battle sounds. I'm generating infinite money by just like the way I generated infinite money in my first playthrough of this was I made a bowl of rice that was so good that people wanted to spend like, if I wanted to sell it to a shop, it would sell for like $20,000. And then I just took like a bunch of pictures of it to make copies of it. And then I just sold those copies. Is so much fun. As soon as I beat this game, I immediately started a second playthrough. Just like, oh, I just want to see, like, now that I fully understand the system, I want to break it again. It's so much fun. The story makes like no sense. I forgot how much of this game was just like you meandering around. Just like, I'm just trying to find my way across the world to like get to the sorcery globe. And then suddenly it's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's like 10 evil guys trying to destroy the universe. Have fun. But it's really charming. It's got that PS1 charm all over it. The art is gorgeous. Everything in this game except for the overworld. The overworld is kind of ugly. I played it on Switch, so like things loaded in very close to me. But I thought a lot of the HD portraits and whatnot were just beautiful. Loved it. This is one of my top 5 games of the year. So this is going to be an odd one. This isn't really a game that you can complete, but earlier, like a handful of months ago, they released Pokemon trading card game Pocket for mobile. They make some really odd choices to the mechanics of this game that I understand why they would make for mobile. So I have played some amount of the Pokemon trading card game physically. There is the energy system. You build a deck, a 60-card deck, you put X amount of energy within that deck, and if you draw that energy, you can put that energy on your Pokemon and use that energy to use attacks, move on with your day, whatever. Because this is a mobile game that they really wanted to like streamline and make things move a bit quicker, it's really odd. You just generate one energy for free every turn based on like, you can choose what kind of energy you want to generate when you make a deck. But you can't like adjust the ratios of it. So let's say I'm playing the paper card game and I wanted to make a fire water deck. And let's say I required more fire energy than I needed water energy. I could adjust the energy ratios within that deck. I could say I want 2 fire energy for every 1 water energy. And that's not something you can do in this game. In this, you select, I want my deck to be able to generate fire or water. And you just generate it at a random 50-50 rate. So I've got like a Dragonite deck that needs electric and water, so Dragonite can use their attack. I can go like 5 turns in a row only generating one of the 2 types, and I have like no control over it. So it's like it really homogenizes the deck down to like monotype decks. It's very focused around EX Pokemon, which you can see on screen right now. They're just very powerful. The decks are only 20 cards, and then you can just like run like 2 copies of Pokeball, which is you just draw a basic Pokemon, or 2 copies of Professor Oak, which is you just draw 2 Pokemon, or not Pokemon, you draw 2 cards. So you can like go through your deck really fast. So things get very samey, very not super interesting. I try to make decks around not EX Pokemon because I just think that's more interesting. This is just something I put on this list. It's not my favorite game that I played this year, and it's just something that I kind of play as like a gacha to just like open up a booster once or twice a day and go, oh, look at this funny Pokemon that I got. But I mean, it's keeping me entertained once or twice a day, even if I'm not like in love with the mechanics. What the change though, what this has made me want to do, which we'll get to at the end of this stream. One of the games I want to add to my 2025 list of games to play is Pokemon Trading Card Game 2 for the Game Boy, the one that was in Japan only, because I played that original game a ton, and I just somehow never played the second one. Yeah, it's Japan only, but there's been an English translation for some time. I think this is the year I finally get around to doing that. 2024, I played Hi-Fi Rush. This is, the way I would either describe it is, I either like this game a lot, or I love this game, but it's deeply flawed. So I've played a ton of rhythm games. I've played a ton of like character action, Devil May Cry style, Bayonetta style action games. So this seemed like it was tailor-made for me. I do really love the style of the game. I enjoyed my time playing it, but there was enough things with the combat system that I felt were just like not quite there. The game really heavily emphasizes your team attacks with like your partners. So you're blasting those out a ton, and it's just very visually noisy. There was a lot of times where I was deep in combat where I could not parse what was going on. Additionally, there's a lot of times where when you're playing like a Devil May Cry, typically if an enemy is like behind you, not visible on camera, they will not attack you. Maybe it's because I was playing on hard in this game, because again, I have a lot of experience with these rhythm and action games. I was getting just shot in the back of the head all the time. The sound effect of one beat before you get shot, you hear like a little like charge up noise. Not enough time to react to that. So I was just getting shot left and right. It was pretty funny, but also a little aggravating. Also, this game had a lot more platforming than I expected. At times, this game was more of a platformer than it was an action game. It was really odd. That being said, when this game is running like at high level octane, like high action, it really clicks. I wish this game had more licensed music. That's something I complain about with like a lot of modern media, where it's like, it's just a needle drop, just make you feel emotions. It's kind of played out. It's kind of cliche, whatever. This is the perfect game for those kind of like, put on that hot summer jam and you just go, oh, I know that song. And then you just start playing the game to it. When I'm playing this game and Prodigy Invaders Must Die starts to like, you hear the track start as you like burst into a building. It's like, oh my God. Or like when I get to the final boss and I hear 9 Inch Nails' Perfect Drug, that little guitar strumming at the start, it's like, oh my fucking God, let's go. Like, I'm pumped. But the gameplay just isn't quite there. There's just enough criticisms I had about it. When I first started playing this game, one of the first notes I wrote for this game was, bro, the main character sucks. Chai sucks. He was just really irritating. He's like your typical Saturday morning cartoon, like, I could do everything all by myself. And I get that's the point, but God, I just wanted to punch him. He gets better. It's fine. It's whatever. It was really good. I do highly recommend it. Just go in not expecting the best of both worlds. Just expect like a fun amalgamation of what it has to offer. I played Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. Sorry, the dark threw me off. Chat was saying Dark Souls, and I was like, no, it's the other dark game. So this is a game I never played when it was originally out on Xbox or PlayStation. It came out on PC. I was like, oh, this is the game that has a cult following. People were saying this is pretty good. I want to try it out. Picked it up, started to play it. Did not get it. It didn't click with me, whatever. I put it down. I want to say like 5 years ago or so, I started to get a bit of a bug in me about, you know what? I want to try not Dark Souls, Dragon's Dogma again, because people who love that game speak really highly of it, and I want to try it. So I tried it again, and again, I think I got even less far that time. I was like, I do not understand this game. It's so weird. 2024, Dragon's Dogma 2 starts to come out, and again, I get the bug in me of, you know what? I want to sit down. I want to push through. I want to understand this game. I want to play Dragon's Dogma because I really enjoy Capcom. And Dragon's Dogma 2 visually looks really nice. And if I like the first one, I'd like to play the second one. So I finally sat down. I finally pushed past where I got the first time I played Dragon's Dogma. I completed Dragon's Dogma. I don't get this game. I don't get why people like this game. I just don't think it's very good. It's just... it feels bad to play. It doesn't control super great. The combat just kind of floaty. It's just, it makes no sense. It's just an odd game. Sorry, folks. I don't like Dragon's Dogma. This is not one of my top 5 games of the year. Last year, I played Rockman World 1 and 2 for Game Boy. I had a copy of 5, but I wanted to put it off until I played 3 and 4 because, like, I might as well play them in order, right? I had played 1 a ton when I was a kid, and I played 2 for the first time last year. All the ones after 1 are completely new to me. So this is the first time I played Rockman World 3. 1 was bullshit hard, 2 was way too easy, and 3 is finally where they kind of thread that needle of, hey, this is just a solid Mega Man experience for the Game Boy. I had a good time playing this. I'd probably revisit it. Ooh, this is also the game where they really start pushing the... I hesitate to say push the Game Boy to its limits, because the Game Boy's limits probably are not that high to begin with, but boy, does this game ever experience some slowdown. So, I mean, if you're an old head gamer like me, that just means what they're trying to do in the game is too awesome to render, so you just kind of deal with it. But this is a fun game. I would play it again. I played Tactical Breach Wizards. You may know that I am a fan of Tom Francis's what is now known as the Defenestration Trilogy. So now that there is finally a new Tom Francis Defenestration game, I picked it up the day it came out. Love this game. It's real, again, still just really funny, but also it's just a fascinating puzzle game, because like the characters you start with already feel just overpowered. Like, oh yeah, my character can exit out of any window and teleport to any other window and just push people out of windows, and that kills them in 1 hit. Or this character can, you know, set up a super high power rifle shot going down this lane, and it's just going to kill people in 1 hit as they come through. Or I can set up that super high powered shot and then push people into it with another character. You just feel overpowered right out the gate. And then each new character you get just adds onto that exponentially. Just every solution you come up with feels like there's no way this is the intended solution for this stage, because it's insane. And then when I beat the game and I started looking at videos for like how to do challenges, I started seeing solutions I literally never would have thought up at all. It is ridiculous. There's just so much potential with this game. As soon as I beat it, I started playing it over again because it's just a lot of fun. That's always a sign of a good game to me, is once I've rolled credits on it, is I gotta play it again. I had a great time with this game. Highly, highly, highly recommend. This is one of my 5 favorite games that I played this year. Easily. No questions. I remember what I was going to say about Tactical Breach Wizards. So I bought the DLC, which includes like developer commentary. And what I thought was really interesting was one of the commentary tracks was him saying, so in any given stage, we set it up in a way that there is kind of a solution that we're expecting for the first 1, maybe 2 turns. But after that, because there's just so many abilities that the player has at their disposal and they're upgrading their characters in different ways, there's no way we could possibly predict what you're going to do. So from there, it just kind of becomes, we just set it up in a way to maybe hope cool things happen. And I just thought that was like just really interesting, where it's like, even though this is ostensibly a puzzle game, they're like, we don't know what the answer is. You figure it out. Have fun. I played Final Fantasy XIV Online Dawn Trail because it came out in 2024. Not good. So for what it's worth, I very, very rarely actually enjoy the story in Final Fantasy XIV. In general, I just think an MMO is a really bad avenue to tell a story, especially in the way Final Fantasy XIV does it. Because the way it works out in a lot of cases is you go pick up a quest. It's like you end up reading a ton of dialogue of characters just standing there because that's all the engine can handle. And then you're told to go to point A. You go to point A and you go talk to another character. And then you go to point B and you click on an object. And then you return to point A and bring it back to the character. And then you go to point C. And if you're lucky, you'll fight 1 enemy, which isn't interesting because the way Final Fantasy XIV combat works is, unless it is a boss where you're able to do like a full rotation on, which takes like a minute, all you do is you press like 2 buttons and the enemy dies. So unless you're there to literally just read a book, the act of playing the game is not interesting. And Shadowbringers was good in spite of this because the story it was telling was really good. Dawn Trails is not. I have so many complaints that I'm probably not really going to get into because there's just so much. I just, on top of this being a bad avenue for a story, the story they chose to tell was just really bad. And it was way too long. It's way too long. There's like more cutscenes than Stormblood, and they have less than a Stormblood's worth of story to tell. Not interesting. Bad, terrible, awful. Hated it. That being said, hey, I mean, the fights are fun. As someone who plays to raid, I don't really raid anymore, but like, I did the Chaotic Alliance raid. I thought that was a ton of fun. There's a lot of people in chat complaining about like body checks and how bad people are, but I'm just sitting in there vibing, having a good time. I'm looking forward to the new Criterion dungeons because because Dawn Trail has nothing going on right now, I'm going back and I'm doing the Endwalker Criterion dungeons. That shit's great. I'm looking forward to Shade's Triangle, the new, what's it called? Field Operation. I'm looking forward to the new Deep Dungeon when that comes out. When you're actually playing the game and like doing dungeons and trials, game's fun as hell. The story just sucks. Step it up. I don't know what to tell you. Put more enemies in your game. When I got out of like the first 2 hours of cutscenes before I was finally allowed to go out into a field, the first thing I did was like beat up a llama. It's just like, finally, an enemy to press buttons against. Oh my god. The gameplay to story ratio of this game is just way too off. It's so bad. Probably the most aggravating thing about, especially Dawn Trail, is the fact that your character has like no agency in anything. You can kinda, I don't know, if the action scene is good enough in like an Endwalker sense, where like you get to see all of your allies stepping up to like help fight these crazy evils, it can kind of feel good. But there are so many times in Dawn Trail where like they set up a combat scenario that is not actually going to be a combat scenario for you to participate in gameplay wise. So the Warrior of Light literally just stands there doing nothing because the game has no way to know, or the cutscene designers have no way to know what race you are or what class you are. So they don't know how to animate any of it. So your character just stands there. And it sucks. Like, don't tell 20 hours of story if you can't have me participate in it. It's bad. It's bad. Whatever. I played Super Mario Wonder. Did this come out in 2023 or 2024? Either way, I didn't play it until the last year. I struggled to find the right words for it because it was a good game. It was a charming game, but I feel like my expectations for this game were higher in a way I can't quite put my finger on. I love the level of creativity on display in this game. The art style is gorgeous. I love all the times that you essentially go on an acid trip whenever you pick up a Wonder Seed. But I still just kind of walked away going, that game was all right. It was just kind of easy. I don't know what it is about this game that I didn't 100% vibe with, because like I walked away from Mario Odyssey going, this is literally the best Mario game I've ever played. I walked away from this going, I might replay it someday. I don't know. I would recommend it if you're looking for a Mario experience. It's not really something I'm itching to revisit anytime soon. I played Rock Band World 4. Like I said, I owned 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I wanted to continue playing the series. The main reason I wanted to play through all the Rock Band worlds, one, I'm a big Mega Man fan and I've just never played them. But two, I really wanted to get to Rock Band World 5 because everyone says that is the best of the Game Boy games. So I expected this just to be another like flyover game on my way to 5. This game was awesome. I don't know why no one talks about this when it comes to the Mega Man Game Boy games. Maybe because this is just another one of those like, yeah, we just took 4 Robot Masters from 4, we took 4 from 5, and we just kind of mashed it into a game. So a lot of it is stuff that players may have like already seen before. But I thought this game was just, it was fun to play. It was moderately challenging. But I think visually is where this game really shines. Again, they're really pushing the Game Boy to its limits. But then also, like, this is one of the first Mega Man games that I can recall to have, like, cutscenes. Like, there's a scene, like, halfway through the game when you beat the first 4 Robot Masters. And then before you move on to the next 4, because it breaks it up into, like, chunks of 4. You had to beat this 4 before you can go fight this 4. where there's like a big walking Wily tank, and you get to see like Mega Man fighting it, and then you teleport to the tank, and then there's a stage of you breaking into the tank that you have to like play through. And then once you're in the tank, that's where the 4 robot masters are. But when you're doing those stages, even if you're doing like, let's say, I don't remember what boss is it, Skullman, I think was one of the bosses. I love this game. Don't remember who's in it. When you're doing these stages that are inside this big Wily mech, the stage aesthetic is still the original aesthetic of that robot master, but then also in the background, you just see like a ton of mechanical parts to like really sell you are in like this big walking mech tank, and then you have to like fight your way out of it. And it's, I expected nothing from this game, walked away going, this is probably my favorite of the Mega Man Game Boy games. This is one of my favorite Mega Man games. 2D, there's a lot of qualifiers I would have to put on that because it doesn't even come close to Legends, doesn't even come close to Battle Network 3, but as far as like 2D Mega Man games, this is really high up there. I highly recommend it. If you're a big Mega Man fan and you've just somehow never played this, like I did, check it out. I had a great time. Last year, when I was making, maybe not last year or the year before, I don't entirely remember, when I was making a backlog, I had written down Dishonored 2. So I was like, I've seen this game on sale for $5 several times, and if I could find it on sale again for $5, I would pick it up. And guess what? It went on sale for $5. I played the first game, I want to say back in 2014. That sounds about right. Had a good time. Walked away going, that was a great game. I would like to play a sequel someday. And here we are. This is a game that I dropped this year. So the funny part about this game, I got stuck in the literal first room of this game for approximately 20 minutes. This is not an indictment on the game. It was entirely on me just like not parsing a part of the level geometry in a certain way, whatever. I just thought it was fascinating. As someone who works in game development and has run playtests and watched people be bad at the game and try to think about how would I make this stage more clear to people, I just imagined myself sitting in that situation, but like playing this literal first room in the game and just going, I don't know what to do, and having the developer just like pulling out their hair, losing their mind. I did eventually get out of it, but I put this game down because I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know what it is about it. I got to like this first kind of open area of the game. I walked around, did a couple quests, found some treasure, but I just wasn't in the mood for it, I guess. I don't know. There's just something about it that didn't compel me to keep playing it anymore. So I dropped it, and that's kind of all there is to it. I don't really feel compelled to revisit it. Like, I'm sure there's going to be a time 2 years from now where I go, ooh, maybe I'd like to check it out again, but I actually kind of feel like that's not going to happen. There's just something about it. There's just something about it. I played UFO 50, or I played some of UFO 50. So for those of you not in the know, UFO 50 is a game kind of stylized like a ROM dump of an old console that is defunct now. This is 50 games that were on that console. So I can say I played UFO 50, but really I only touched about half the games, and I only completed like half of those. This game is fascinating. As someone, you can find on this YouTube channel right now several times where I just booted up a Game Boy Advance emulator, and just started picking random games. So like I'm inherently into that kind of thing. This really kind of scratches that itch. You boot up UFO 50 and it goes, here's 50 games. Pick whichever one interests you. Just pick a random game. And sometimes I pick a game and I go, what the hell is this? This sucks. And sometimes I pick a game and I go, this is literally one of the greatest games I've ever played in my life. Shoutouts to Rail Heist. Shoutouts to Camouflage. Shoutouts to, what is it, Mooncat? Shoutouts to this one, Vanger. I can just start skipping through this video and be like, look, it's Avianos. It's like a tactics game. Look, here's... This video is really struggling to load because it's 9 hours of UFO 50. Here's... Oh, I can't believe I forgot to give shoutouts to Warp Tank. Probably my favorite game that I've played out of this entire bunch. This is at GDQ. This game is phenomenal. I haven't even touched Night Manor yet. This is like a... What's a... Shadowgate, I think, was that old. It's a point-and-click game. pin golf. You can play some golf games. This game is nuts. So like, even though I've only touched like half the games, there's still so much of this like left for me to explore. This is easily one of my top 5 games of the year. I'm gonna probably revisit more of these games in 2025. I'm gonna end 2025 going UFO 50, one of my top 5 games of the year, because it's just the style of game that it is. I'm gonna be exploring this game and trying to like get gold and cherry discs for probably years to come. I replayed Hitman Go. This is a game that I bought on mobile back when it came out. Thought it was fantastic. It's just always been on my phone, and I just kind of got in the mood to revisit it. So there was just a time where I was on vacation earlier this year. I was away from my computer, away from my home consoles. Perfect opportunity to just, as I'm laying in bed at the end of the day, crack this open, do a couple puzzles. This game hasn't necessarily aged super well, and I mean that in a very technical sense of, I was playing this on mobile, and when you originally buy this, when it comes out on mobile years and years and years ago, phones had a button on them. Nowadays they don't. So like if you want to go to your home screen, you just have to swipe from the bottom of the app. Because this game is entirely swipe based, there were so many times I'm playing this game and I accidentally like swipe too close to the bottom of the screen and I close the game. So it's kind of got that working against it. Also, I did kind of like mentally tap out near the end of the game. It starts to get really samey after a while. And then also, as I got close to the end of the game, I booted it up once and my save data was gone. Don't know why, but I was like, oh, I'm not doing all that again. But I got most of the way through it. Last year, I talked about how I had an analog Pocket, and I've just been busting through some old Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games in my collection, continuing to do that. I got a random itch. I don't remember how this came up, but I randomly thought of this game that I played a ton as a kid. This is, you know, when you're a kid, you own like 5 games, and there's just like one that just sticks out to you as, I'm just going to play this over and over. Pocket Bomberman was that. I played this game so much when I was a kid, and I figured I must have been onto something. So I got a copy of it for like $5, and I replayed it. This game kind of sucks. I don't know what was wrong with me. Child brain. It's just not very good. It's also incredibly short. You could probably finish this in like 2 hours blind. It is what it is. This may surprise you, but as someone who played Rockman World 3 and Rockman World 4, I continued to play the Rockman World series, and I finished it out with 5, the last one. This is the one that I was the most looking forward to trying out, because everyone says this is the best of the Game Boy games. I think people just say this because it's the only unique, like wholly unique Mega Man game. It's got new bosses. It's got like the Staroids, Pluto, Venus, Mars, whatever. It's not just rehashing like Skull Man, Bright Man, Ring Man, whatever. Mechanically, I actually didn't think this game was that interesting. I thought the new Mega Buster, where you shoot out your hand and it latches onto people, kind of aggravating. It actually just kind of got in the way of gameplay. It didn't feel super responsive. So I think people need to revisit this game. It's not as good as they said it was. I think people just think this game was good because it's the only original one. You should go revisit Rockman World 4. That one's really good. This one's just, it's fine. I'll play it again for sure. I'm sure if there's ever a point where I feel like replaying a Mega Man Game Boy game, I may just replay it 3, 4, 5, because that's like the string of the good ones. 1 and 2 are just kind of fine. But 4, I think 4 is my favorite of the bunch. I highly recommend that one. I replayed Yoshi's Island. This is a game that I've played a ton. I just got a random bug in me to replay it. I forget how it came up, talking about it in Discord or whatever. I just really got in the mood to replay Yoshi's Island. This game is still phenomenal. Fantastic music, fantastic art style. It's super fun to play. I didn't go for 100%. As I get older, I think the more I lean towards 100% in this game, it's just kind of bullshit. Because like you can get all the way through an entire stage, and then like you accidentally get touched and lose 1 star, and it's just like, I gotta redo the entire fucking stage. Some of the red coins are like super hidden. It's a little bit too much for me these days, but God, this game is just gorgeous. It's so much fun. Once Hitman Go deleted my save data, and I still had tons of vacation left to kind of idle my way through, I booted up the next of the Go games, and I started playing Lara Croft Go. This is the one that I have played the most, because there was a stretch of time where I was commuting a lot for work, and Hitman Go just didn't work on my phone. There was just like an update that just kind of like made things super sluggish and not fun to play. So I just kind of replayed this one over and over. It's so gorgeous to look at, especially compared to the other two games. I just think the art style is really on point. The puzzles are really satisfying to solve. It doesn't force you to replay stages like the other two do. Hitman Go is very, you beat a stage and then you get to see like the 3 challenges. Like one of them will be beat the stage in under X moves, beat the stage collecting the briefcase, and a lot of these are always very contradictory. You can only do one, you can't do both in one go, so you end up replaying the same stage over and over trying to knock these out. These stages are very just get to the end, and along the way just find some point and click treasure. Now granted, so you can, in the video just now you can see they found one. It's just these little urns scattered through the stages. Some of these are pretty obscure, and you do end up replaying the stage. But if you're paying like super close attention, you can get through in one go. If you're only going for like one of the 3 puzzle games, highly recommend this one. It's actually like really good. That being said, broken on mobile right now. Once you get to the DLC stages, they introduce a new type of enemy that when you try to shoot it, game crashes. Hard up, straight up, non-functional. I love modern video games, folks. There's just no way around it. So that's about as far as I got. I beat the entire game, got to the DLC, game hard crash. All right, well, done with Lara Croft Go. Control is a game that I talked about in a previous one of these streams, where I think it was when I was either originally crafting my backlog for 2023 or adding it onto the 2024 one. I talked about how I have played several hours of this game, but eventually just kind of fell off it because I didn't think the game itself was like that good. I really love the style. I enjoyed the story it was trying to tell, but the actual act of playing the game, the combat, the jumping around, I didn't think was very good or fun. So I put this on my backlog as you do really enjoy the story. Turn on God mode and just try to like get through it. Just enjoy the parts that you do like, and just try to breeze past the parts that you don't. And I ended up once again dropping this. It turns out if I put a game on like God mode or auto battle, that is a very fast ticket to just not being interested in the game at all, because I want to be a participant, and I just kind of like walking into a room just going not taking any damage and just like blindly shooting things, I didn't think it was particularly interesting. So I think sadly this game may just not be for me. I should look up a let's play because I do want to see where this game goes. I adore this style. Every time I'm not thinking about Dr. Darling and then I randomly think of Dr. Darling, I'm like, oh, why am I not thinking of Dr. Darling all the time, you know? So I think watching a let's play is probably right for me, but actively playing this game, not my thing. Speaking of games where I played them and then dropped them and then tried to turn on auto battle and then dropped it again. Uh-oh, what happened to the video? Okay, never mind. Xenoblade 3 is a very storied game with me. I think it was on my... I talked about it in my 2023 backlog planning of saying I really enjoyed this game, but I didn't like the actual gameplay, much like Control. I ended up trying to revisit it in 2023 by turning on auto battle. Ended up putting it down again, much like Control. But this is a game that I can't get out of my head. I have to see this game through because I love the first Xenoblade so much. I really do. So I actually don't have that much history with the Xeno series. I've never played Xenogears. I tried playing Xenosaga back around when that came out, and that was back when I was at my most JRPG pilled. I'm a teenager with nothing but time, and I'm playing shit like Final Fantasy X. I'm playing the Dot Hack series. not even I could do Xenosaga. That game is impenetrable. So I never played any of those. But Xenoblade 1 is so good. One of my favorite games of all time, and I've been chasing that high for so long. I've never touched Xenoblade 2 because I look at those trailers. I'm sorry, Xenoblade 2 lovers out there. I look at the cinematics for that game. I cannot tolerate it. I just can't. But Xenoblade 3 feels like they're finally tapping into the parts of Xenoblade 1 that I loved. And even though I like played this game and dropped it because I didn't care for the gameplay, I can't get it out of my head. I need to come back and revisit this game. So I really sat down and really made another push to play through this game. And I did. I beat it. Not 100%. I didn't do all the side quests. I didn't pick up the DLC, but I saw the game to the credits. And I'm glad I did. I'm not going to say I like loved this game because still gameplay wise, I don't care for it. As you can see in this video, it's like a real-time RPG where there's 7 characters doing things at all time. And it's like, how am I supposed to parse any useful information about what's going on here? During combat, I pretty much never had any idea what was happening other than just the buttons that I was pressing. I thought the class switching system was just way too complicated for what it needed to be. It was just like, this character was on a tank, but that just hit tank level 10, so I should switch them to a different class so I can continue to get experience. I want to switch them to DPS, but because I'm switching to DPS, I need to take this other person who's on DPS and put them to a different class. But since I want to set this person as a healer, that means the person they interlink with is also a healer. So I want to make sure that other person is not a healer. So when I interlink, I don't lose all my healers in one go. And at the end of the day, you're just in combat going, I just press the buttons as they light up. And it's just like, it's just so overly complicated. I didn't enjoy playing the game. But everything about it, other than combat, is so strong. It's one of those... It's like Borderlands, the pre-sequel. This should be the best Xenoblade game, but it's just not. This game rides on the polish of, like, the world is gorgeous. The UI, even though there's too many menus, are easy to navigate. Even though, like, I completed this game, and it got me in the mood to go back and start playing more Xenoblade 1, because I bought the Definitive Edition, and that's just something I can just, because I played Xenoblade 1 before, it's something I can pick up, play for a few hours, put down, come back to it later, whatever. I've been getting back into Xenoblade, and I've been seeing, like, some really impactful cutscenes and whatnot, but not even in Xenoblade 1 do I think there are any scenes as narratively strong to me as, like, this scene near Colony Tau where Neo is just freaking out about how little time she has left to live and just going, we keep getting sidetracked from where we need to go. I have like 3 months left. Like, when are we going to like focus on what it is that we need to do? Like, that, it was a powerful moment. The scene where there's like an execution during the eclipse, that was a phenomenal cutscene. Like, the highs of this game are so high. It's just, if the core gameplay was interesting to me, this would be my favorite Xenoblade game, but it just isn't. And that's kind of sad. It hurts. I'm glad I played through this game. I'm glad I finally saw it through because I really wanted to. I really liked the ending scene where the two worlds were being pulled apart. That was just like very stylistic and cool. But I'm probably not revisiting this game anytime soon because even though it has some really high highs, getting through it is kind of a slog. Also, real quick, before I tap out of Xenoblade, Uni is the boss. Straight up, 100%. Probably the best character in all of Xenoblade. I love her. She's fantastic. I played Yakuza 5. I played this very early in the year. If you go back to my 2023 backlog report, I think I end that by saying I started playing Yakuza 5 and I love it. A lot of people will say that this game is the most bloated, it is the most confusing and makes no sense Yakuza, and I agree with that. I adore this game. I genuinely love this game. It's kind of meandering. The story doesn't really make that much sense. Literally, I walk into the final boss room and I go, who the hell is this guy? And even Kiryu goes like, why are you here? And then final boss, it is a bit of a meme, but even the final boss is kind of like, I don't even know why I'm here. I loved this game. Let me pull up. There was a Tumblr post I saw a while back that really describes my relationship with this game. If you like a piece of media that is good, eventually you'll more or less run out of things to say about how good it is. But if you like a piece of media that is objectively pretty mediocre, but also somehow deeply compelling, that's how the demons get you. That's me with Yakuza 5. I can't stop thinking about this game when I think about Yakuza. There's just something about it. It's the vibes. It's like how it's like very kind of like it's cold weather. It's near Christmas. That always like sets the mood for me. It's how each character's story isn't even really about Yakuza. It's about people trying to live their lives outside of Yakuza, but Yakuza bullshit keeps slowly happening at them in the background. And that's just like deeply compelling to me. It's the 125,000 times they say the word dream. I have a dream. You got to follow your dream. You can tell the person who made this had really big dreams. The way I would describe this game is this game walked so that Yakuza 0 could run. I think the DNA for Yakuza 0 is here. This is like the first really big engine upgrade. Going off of Yakuza 4 onto this, you can really feel like combat feels a little more fluid. Things just feel a little bit nicer. This is where they first, well, not really first, because they did it in Yakuza 4 with a multi-character story, but they're really pushing that multi-character story to the limit here in 5. And I think if it had some of that Yakuza 0, you alternate back and forth between Kiryu and Majima a lot in that game. If that had more of that in this game, where you play a little bit of Kiryu, you play a little bit of Akiyama, you play a little bit of Saejima, you would have a better grip on the story, because like you play through Kiryu's story and then you don't get back to Kiryu for like 50, 60 hours. And by then you've completely forgotten what the fuck it is he was doing, or any of the major players in his story. So I think if it had a little bit more of that, it would tie things up a little bit better. Even then, they didn't really tie it up that well at all in the end. You're just kind of like, the game's ending. Here's the final boss, goodbye. But I love this game. If there was ever a Yakuza 5, if there was ever a Yakuza that I was going to 100%, it's probably going to be this one. It has Shinada. Shinada's the best. Shinada and Takasugi. Oh my god. Shinada's ending makes no sense, but the phone call he gets at the end where all of his friends are just like, hey man, we miss you. You want to come back? And it's so moving. It's so touching. I love it. Best. I fucking love Yakuza 5. This is one of my top 5 games that I played this year. And I played multiple Yakuzas this year. None of the others are in my top 5. That should go to say how much I loved Yakuza 5. I'm a freak, apparently. This year, I finished Tiny Tina's Wonderlands with Panzer. We played this primarily in 2023, but finished it around the start of 2024. So I felt a little bit better about putting it into this list of games that I played rather than the previous one, because maybe my opinion on the game would change when I finally see like the full context of the game. This game fucking sucks, just straight up. It's bad. I don't know what it is about this game where you see people talking about it online going, oh, this game was really good. This game made some really important and impactful changes to the Borderlands formula. This game sucked. I hated it. At no point was I having fun playing this game. Panzer and I, when we were booting up the game for what we knew was going to be the final time, because we had to go beat the final boss, that was the one time we streamed Borderlands, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, because we knew we were never... Even though we like played all of 3 and then streamed all of 3 as a replay, even though we streamed all of 2, all of pre-sequel, we knew there's no chance in hell we were ever going to like actually stream this, because this game just sucks. It feels bad. The guns feel bad. The characters aren't interesting. Wanda Sykes and Andy Samberg are there for some reason. I don't know. They're not even like characters in the game. Like, you play through a Borderlands game and occasionally a character will interject on something that is happening in the game, but those characters are usually like present in the scene. They aren't. They're just there to talk about like Eamst and Wibbles, the new East and West, and just make stupid jokes, but their characters aren't physically there. This game sucks. It's bad. Don't play it. Terrible. I hated it. I don't want to play it again. 0 out of 10. Not even the Borderlands movie was better than this. Straight up. When I uploaded my VOD for me talking about the games that I played in 2023, so last year, someone commented on the video saying something like, "Oh, you seem to really like Capcom games, platformers. You should check out Demon's Crest. Highly recommend it." So I checked it out. It was actually on the Nintendo Switch online service, so I didn't have to pirate it or like pay for it anywhere. I could just play it for free. And this game is okay. I didn't click with it that much. I got the bad ending. It turns out it's one of those games where you kind of have to like find a bunch of hidden collectibles to get the good ending and fight an extra boss or whatever, but I didn't feel compelled to do that. Like, I beat the game, I got the bad ending, and I just went, yeah, that makes sense. I love the aesthetic of it, but the gameplay itself, as you can kind of see in this video, you can kind of just like fly over everything and just like ignore everything that's happening in the game. That's how most of the game tends to go. I think conceptually this is an interesting game, but I don't see myself trying to go for the good ending. I played Mario Picross 2 for the Game Boy. I've been buying some Japanese Game Boy games. That's why I've been playing Rock Band World and not Mega Man Roman numeral 1 through 5. Because Japanese games are just a lot cheaper than North American ones these days. And one of the games I picked up was Mario Picross 2, because it never came out in America, only came out in Japan. I've played a lot of Picross games. I've played a lot of the DS ones, or 3DS ones, like Picross E, or, yeah, I think it was E. I can usually chip through one of those games in like 20 hours. The first Game Boy, Mario Picross for Game Boy, I think was also 20 hours. No joke, this game was like 60 hours of Picross. I was flabbergasted that the game just continued to go as I played more of it. I'm not really complaining, but oh my god, no Picross game needs to be this long. I kept going because there was just more puzzles to do, and it kept not ending. It eventually did. Oh my god, I'm kind of glad it did. If it had like 100 hours of Picross, I would probably lose my fucking mind. It was good Picross. It was just way too much of it, but if you're ever looking for like a good amount of Picross to dollars ratio, highly recommend Mario Picross 2 for the Game Boy. I played Yakuza 6. I'm continuing my Yakuza journey. If you remember last year, I played 3 and 4. So then this year I played 5, and then I continued to play more. I played this, 6. 6 is okay. It's something I thought like kind of highly of as I just finished it, but then as I sit with the game, I like it a little bit less. I will say, as someone who played Yakuza 0 and then Kiwami 1, then Kiwami 2, when I was playing Kiwami 2, I was like, holy shit, the Dragon Engine is incredible. What a jump up. And then you would read online of people saying, the Dragon Engine sucks. It's so bad. I think the people who say that are people who have been like long-standing Yakuza fans, because as someone who went from Yakuza 5 to Yakuza 6, this is the first iteration of the Dragon Engine, and you can feel it. There are so many times I was doing combat in this game where like I pressed grab and I was never certain if I was going to grab the enemy that was directly in front of me or the potted plant a block away. This game was really loosey-goosey in terms of like what was going on. And the story was all right. There are parts of it that I think are better in retro. Like it's the kind of game where you play and in the moment you kind of go, okay, well, what's the big deal with the boat? If you know, you played the game, you know. But it's something that I read about after the fact and go, okay, I can understand what they're going for. It's a very Japanese thing. Man, just looking at just watching this, the Dragon Engine, even though I just got done complaining about it, it really is beautiful. It makes me want to revisit Kiwami 2, because did I actually like the Dragon Engine in that game? I'm not sure. Like, I did, as someone who's experiencing it for the first time, and it wasn't as janky, but maybe now that I've played 6, if I go back to Kiwami 2, will I like it as much? Oh, man. I forgot. Sorry, this game has an ending. This game actually sucks. The end. Yakuza 3, Yakuza 4, and Yakuza 5 are almost entirely about like how Kiryu wants to just like leave the Yakuza life behind and stay with Haruka. Haruka wants to stay with Kiryu. Like that is like the driving force behind their stories. How badly these two just want to like live their lives together. And the way Yakuza 6 ends with like Kiryu finally finding Haruka after like another year or two in jail or whatever, and he goes, "Oh hey, it's you. I gotta go write a letter." And he turns and he starts to write a letter at a desk. And in the moment, you start to think, okay, he's not an expressive guy. Like he's expressing himself in, you know, writing, whatever. When you finally figure out what the contents of that letter are, it's fucking aggravating. It has nothing to do with Haruka. It's all about Daigo. And then like Kiryu's ending, it's just him going, just fake my death so people can live in peace, and I'll bear this burden of like leaving Haruka alone. You fucking moron. You and Haruka have been fighting nonstop to like live together, and now you're just trying to like do this stupid Jesus Christ sacrificial, awful, terrible ending. Miserable, bad. The game itself, it was alright. It was more Yakuza. It's really hard to make a bad Yakuza game, turns out. I had a good time playing this game. Just some of the story parts were really aggravating, and the combat was kind of floaty and made no sense. I could not get enough Mega Man this year, apparently. I am a big Mega Man fan, but I've also somehow never played Mega Man 11. It went on sale for, I don't know, $8 or something. Now, yeah, that time's right. I should finally check this game out as someone who's been putting it off for, God, when the hell did this game come out? I don't want to know. I didn't like it as much as like Mega Man 9 and Mega Man 10. I do think aesthetically it's like a really good looking game. I remember when they were announcing this game, they were talking about how like, oh, we want to redesign Mega Man in a way that like really blends cool and cute. And I think they hit that target. Like game looks cool, but also looks really charming. That being said, there's like something about the controls of this game felt kind of unresponsive. I don't know if it was like the jump was delayed from when you press it, or sometimes I would just drop inputs or something, but I found myself walking off of ledges a lot. And I never really clicked with the double gear system. Like, do I want to like slow down time, or do I want to have like a super powerful charge shot? I'm not sure what's best in this moment. I think this makes for a really interesting speedrun, but it was okay. I would sooner revisit 2, 3, 9, 10, probably at least half of the classic series before I came back to this one. It was okay. After Lara Croft Go started crashing on me for daring to play the game, I continued to play the Go series with Deus Ex Go. This game is bizarre because apparently it's shut down. But because I still have it on my phone, means I can still play it. It just means every time I launch the game, it throws some kind of network warning or whatever. I don't even know if you can acquire this game anymore legally. This game is okay. I think this is definitely the weakest of the three. I think if you would ask me back when this came out how I would rank these games, it would be Lara Croft, Deus Ex, Hitman in that order. As time goes on, I think this one is definitely like the solid bottom of the pack, even though like Hitman got very samey. I just think this game is pretty sauceless, for lack of a better term. I do appreciate them trying to shake up the puzzle design by adding like these diagonal lines. It makes a lot of sense. When you're playing Hitman Go or Lara Croft Go, like it's very grid based. So like if you want to move from point A to point C, you got to pass through point B, and that's always going to take 2 turns. So that means the enemies always get 2 turns. So things tend to always happen on very like rigid schedules. Adding these diagonal lines not only make a lot of like visual sense for the language of Deus Ex, for the aesthetic of Deus Ex, but it does mean now that you have triangles, you can get from point A to either point B or point C within 1 turn. So that does kind of shake up how like the puzzles flow. But I think that also just kind of makes them more complicated in a bad way sometimes. There'd be a lot of times I'd be like staring at a puzzle and just forget that I can like sneak behind someone in this weird and awkward way. The power-ups are just kind of like confusing. It's fine. I ended up not finishing it by this after going through Hitman to Lara Croft to this, essentially back to back over the course of a vacation. I just kind of mentally tapped out like halfway through this, going, I'm done with these. I think I've had enough. Once I finished playing Monster Hunter, I almost said Mega Man Battle Network for some reason. Once I finished playing Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, I was firmly in the mood for some more Monster Hunter, because the only thing I had left to do in 3 Ultimate was just like G rank hub. So like that's not a full Monster Hunter experience. That's just continuing where I left off. I wanted to play some Monster Hunter before Wilds comes out. And I'm kind of running out of like new to me options. So I sat down and I started playing Freedom Unite for the PSP, on the PSP for the most part. This game is obnoxious. Oh man. If you are a new Monster Hunter player and pretty much all you know is like, if you look at, say, Monster Hunter 4 for the Nintendo 3DS, and then you look at Monster Hunter World and it feels like a staggering leap forward, if you start getting into like old gen and you start really playing them, genuinely the same thing happens from Freedom Unite to Monster Hunter 3. Like, it may not visually look it, but it's so hard to overstate how much of a leap forward it is going from Monster Hunter 2 to 3. Going back to 2, this one, Freedom Unite, everything is so clunky, so slow. The monster roster is so limited. It's ball breaking. I almost like entirely rage quit this game. I got to One Ear Yongaruga, also known as Scarred Yongaruga, and I got so mad that I almost rage quit. But I did push through. The game got a lot easier after that, turns out. I ended up beating all of Village solo, and I feel pretty confident with that. I beat Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. That being said, that's just Village. If you know Monster Hunter, you know there's still like an entire hub. But is there an entire hub? Because the way this game is structured is you honestly, all the quests that you do in hub are literally just the same quests that you do in Village, just the numbers are tuned up. So I would have been confident saying I beat Village, therefore I beat the game, but I wanted to see some more of the game. So I downloaded a PSP emulator, I grabbed a friend, and we played through hub together over the course of a few months or whatever. I beat Eucanlos, the end of G rank hub in Freedom Unite. I posted about it on Blue Sky, so I'm confident in saying I've like completed this game. I think the only thing left to do in this game essentially is Fatalis. Fuck that. Don't feel like it. I'm done with this game. I'm not coming back to it. I could talk myself into replaying 3. No interest in doing it here. I've been negative on this game. I do think it was charming and interesting looking back on this game and trying it for the first time, but it's fucking rough, dude. You really need to be into this game to stick with it, and I think I'm just not quite there. Last backlog report, I played Wario Land 1 for probably no reason. I genuinely couldn't explain why. I happened to acquire a copy during one of my Japanese game orders, and I just kind of tossed it in the analog, and I just played it for something to do, and I walked away going, yeah, that was all right. It was kind of weird. I don't even like Wario Land that much. I think it's just fine. But because I played 1, that means, well, this year I gotta play 2. So I played Wario Land 2, and it's fine. It's so bizarre. He feels like a 3-wheeled truck. The controls are really awkward. I don't, like, it's so bizarre. But that being said, as someone who before this had only ever played Wario Land 4, I played Wario Land 4 on Game Boy Advance way back in the day, and I've played it again semi-recently. Going from Wario Land 4 to Wario Land 1, you're like, wow, this is like completely different. You got all these silly hats, you don't have like all the weird power-ups, whatever. Going from Wario Land 1 to 2, you're like, this is where it starts. This is where you get stung by a bee and you float up to the sky. This is where you get set on fire and you run back and forth uncontrollably. You start to see like where the pieces start to come together, and that's kind of interesting. but just playing the game was so awkward. The physics were so whack. I did appreciate the essentially multi-path levels. Like, you beat the game, and then it turns out there was like 4 or 5 points in the game where, like, if you had just like done something different or walked out a different exit, you would have gone to some entirely different levels. And you can just go back, level select, get right to it. It's super smooth, functional. It's a lot smoother than actually playing the game. It's very admirable. So I think this game does have some high points. I would probably not revisit it, but I do hear that Wario Land 3 is the Wario Land to play, and guess what? I've got a copy of it, so 2025, let's go, Wario Land 3. This year I played Yakuza 5 and Yakuza 6 and Yakuza 7, even though last year I played Yakuza 3 and 4. I just can't get enough Yakuza. I've got a copy of Judgment on the shelf waiting to go, just waiting for the right time. I can't get enough. I liked this game in spite of it being a JRPG. I generally don't care that much for JRPGs. I just am not super interested in them. And the battle system here is definitely very, very, very undercooked. I know the whole ordeal of it being an April Fool's joke, and then they pivoted to making it the actual game. I like this game almost purely just from a character standpoint. I think Ichiban's great. He's kind of like really frustratingly stupid at the start, but it eventually becomes endearing. Adachi is fantastic. Ryo Aoki, the villain, is honestly one of the best villains that Yakuza has had. I thought like the ending cutscenes were like phenomenal. Where I kind of like fall into a slump with this game is like, I want to say the middle third. Like the first third, where you're like learning about who Ichiban is and you're getting to Yokohama. That's fine. The middle third, where it's like setting up all the Great Wall of Muscle. We're the Ijin 3. I was kind of bored. I just wasn't captivated by that stuff, and the fact that it just kept going. I know it's the plot of the game, but the middle third just did not grip me. But then when you get to the final third and you're dealing a lot more with Ryo Aoki, I thought that was phenomenal stuff. Yokohama is way too big. That is one criticism that I do have about this game. It kind of makes sense for the JRPG aspect of like, we want to have dedicated areas where like you need to be like level 10 to access this area. You need to be level 20 to access this area. So it kind of makes sense. But as someone who loves Yakuza for just being able to explore the town, it felt too cumbersome to get anywhere because everything was so far apart. But then also I felt discouraged from exploring because I would go into a new area and it's like, oh, here's where the level 30 enemies are and you're level 10. Go fuck yourself. I did play this game with the English dub, which I was hesitant on. I heard people say this game has a really good English dub, and it is the first game that has an English dub. So I wanted to try it out. And what I'm worried about is because I played 0, Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all in Japanese, if I got too used to English here and then I moved on to 7 or 8, where Kiryu is a prominent figure again, and I play the game in English, I'm not going to be able to tolerate his English. I don't even know what he sounds like in English in 8. I was worried, but the English dub here is really good. I did briefly try switching it back to Japanese just because I was like, I've been playing these games in Japanese for so long, I kind of want to experience it in Japanese. But by that point, I got too used to not having to read all the subtitles, not having to read all the text boxes flying out the side for conversations. So I just kind of stuck with English. It was fine. It was good. I think this game is really good. It is a good jumping on point for the most part. That's what a lot of people say. I do highly recommend it if you're new to Yakuza and you're looking for like a place to hop on. I would personally lean more towards 0 just because I like the brawler aspect more, but this is a pretty good one. Something I will say about this game, what I really would have loved to see more from the story is more Ichiban brain poisoning. Like, as you're getting closer to the end of the game and you get to like the fight against Kiryu and you get to see how Ichiban perceives him as a dragon, or you get to the Millennium Tower and you look up in the sky, there's like a big vortex because it's the big evil place. I wish I could have seen more of that. You could make the argument that Oh, you're seeing that all the time whenever you get into a battle. But I mean, like, more bespoke moments like that would have been nice. That's all. I thought those moments were really cool, and I wish I could have gotten to see more of that. The final game on my list of games that I've played this year is Rabbit and Steel. I didn't think I was going to care for it this much. It's a game that I played a demo of. This is a very MMO kind of styled roguelike. And yeah, I like MMOs, and I generally like roguelikes. But I'm also kind of tired of roguelikes, and I like MMOs within the context of, like, all the things that are around the MMO, you know, the environments, exploring, just being in a social space with other people, even if I'm not necessarily playing with them all the time. I downloaded the demo for this, played it with a friend, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of cute. It's whatever. Maybe I'll pick it up just to play it with you. Because I figured there's no way this game is going to be fun alone. And it turns out this game is actually phenomenal alone. You could maybe say it's easier because you don't have to rely on people being in the right position. But also you could argue it's harder because if you're playing with multiplayer and someone dies, if you just wait long enough, they can get revived. In solo, you don't get that opportunity. If you fuck up, it's on your own. You take that death and you start over. So I think there's ups and downs for playing it both ways. And they do kind of make up for the lack of player positioning. If you're playing multiplayer, there's going to be a lot of all players are targeted with a mechanic and you need to spread out or you need to stack up together. They can kind of replicate that in solo by just like shooting a lot of bullets at you to force you to go to certain spots. So I think it works out. I really enjoyed my time playing this game. I beat it with all the characters. I tried playing it on the hardest difficulty, Lunar. I think that's a little bit too much for me. Even as an ultimate raider in Final Fantasy XIV, bruh, playing Lunar in this game is brutally hard. Maybe I'll try it again someday, but it was so much. I will say the itemization of this game was not the most interesting. Like, a lot of the items are just your typical, like, 30% of the time when you get a critical hit, this happens, or nothing really, like, run defining. It just kind of is what it is. But I think it works out well enough. I don't play it because I'm looking for, like, the god run item-wise, like I would in, like, a Hades run. I'm playing this just because the mechanics are fun. The music is good. The aesthetic is cute. It's got a lot of fun characters to play as. I thought the game was great. This is one of the top 5 games that I played this year, easily. I put in way more time into it than I expected, and I would love an excuse to come back to it. They're working on DLC. I'm excited to pick that up when it comes out. That is all the games that I played this year, and since that is all of them, let's go ahead and talk about which of the top 5 that I played. I said which ones were the top 5 within the top 5, but I didn't say what order they were. Who knows? What could they be? Does anyone have any guesses? Drum roll, please. The first one of the 5, the 5th best game that I played this year was Star Ocean. Second Story R. Great. Love it. What else can I say about it? Nope. Borderlands movie is not in the top 5. Unquestionably not in the top 5. The 4th best game that I played this year was Yakuza 5. I was tempted to put Yakuza 5 at number 5 because the 5 to 5 was going to be, you know, aesthetically pleasing or whatever. But no, man, I just love Yakuza 5. It's great. I don't know why everyone talks so much shit about this game. It's great. The 3rd best game that I played this year was UFO 50. This will probably continue to be in my top 5 as the years go on and I play different games that are in this game. But man, woo, the games that I played in UFO 50, top notch. Highly recommend. I love the experience of playing this game. I'd check it out. There's only 2 games left. You may remember them as, one of them was Rabbit and Steel, one of them was Tactical Breach Wizards, but in which order did they go? Number 2 is Tactical Breach Wizards. Tom Francis, you did it again. Love that game. I'll probably replay it at some point, but the game that I replayed the most easily was Rabbit and Steel. This is probably my favorite game that I played this year. Maybe I'll play it again tomorrow once GDQ is over. I am glad to have finished up this stream before, what's it called? Ocarina of Time shows up on GDQ, except, sorry, I just realized it says top 5 games of the year. I did write just for some clarity. I did put year under there. I forgot that webcams exist, and I kind of needed to fix that. Though actually, before I shut down real quick, I did want to clean up my list for 2025. So let me just go ahead, file, make a copy. Good. 2025 games. And I'll just delete all the things that I've marked off as completed, move forward the things that I said were in progress, and clean up what I have in this backlog. So let me just delete all this shit. Boop. I want to like just straight up delete them, please. Delete this. Final Fantasy X. Is this even really in progress? This is a game that I picked up like I've played Final Fantasy X before. To be clear, this is a game that I've played before. I picked up a secondhand copy of it like last year. Got up to the Blitzball game, went, hell yeah, Blitzball, and I had to stop playing it. Maybe I'll get back to it. Oh, I put Mass Effect on here because semi-recently Mass Effect came up in conversation with me and some friends, and I was like, fuck, man. Fuck, dude. I haven't played Mass Effect in like 10 years. And I've just been thinking about how good it is, and I kind of wanted to replay it, so I picked up Legendary Edition because it was on sale for $5. What a bargain. TCG Pocket, just continuing to play that, continuing to play UFA 50. I did mention during Xenoblade 3 that I got in the mood to play some more of the Xenoblade 1 Definitive Edition. I've actually been playing a lot of that recently. Game's great. Love it. Fantastic. I can take off Control, Deus Ex Go, Dishonored 2. Talked about those. Kanagi Usagi is a free, essentially, Sekiro budget knockoff on Steam where you just do a couple boss fights. I started to play it, and then I had the thought of, if I'm going to play budget knockoff Sekiro, may as well just fucking play Sekiro. So, get out of here. It's neat. God bless little indie dev for making a little knockoff, but I'll just play the original Sekiro. Is there anything in here I want to delete? What is Autendo? I don't actually know. I put this on my list and I don't remember what it is. Hold on. I gotta look this up real quick. Oh, Autenjo. Sorry, I typed it wrong. Nope. Oh, yeah, it's Mahjong Balatro. Baldur's Gate 1, because I love Baldur's Gate 3 so much. Because I love Baldur's Gate 3 so much, I put Baldur's Gate 1 on here as a curiosity. I was gifted a code for the Definitive Edition on Steam, or remastered or whatever. I did the tutorial and went, wow, this is clunky as hell. Maybe I'll get back to it. I don't know. It can stay on here for now, but we'll see. Beginner's Guide, I do want to play that. Blade Chimera is coming out soon. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. That's been out. Am I going to play it? If it's on sale, I'll probably play it. I am interested in it visually, but I just haven't rushed to go out and buy it. Caves of Could, I hear that's interesting. That can stay. One of these days I'll figure out how to emulate Demon Souls. Dread Delusion. Is that actually any good? So I put this on here around the same-ish time that I was playing... No, not Cotard's Syndrome. Dread Delusion game. Jesus fucking Christ. Steve, Google. I was playing Lunacid at the time. I was like, man, give me some really shitty PS1 aesthetic janky RPGs. Dread Delusion looks like another one of those. It's $20. I'll leave it on here for now. I hear exploration in that game is kind of interesting. That can stay on here for now, I think. Dream Solid OS stays. I'm going to delete Final Fantasy 16. I decided I don't give a shit. Get out of here. Buying Hitman is such a pain in the ass. Like, they should make it easy to buy this game. Every time this goes on sale, I'm like, but what is actually going on sale? Just Hitman 1? Just Hitman 3? Just the DLC for Hitman 2? I don't fucking know. So I don't know if I'm getting a good deal. Every time I see this go on sale, I go, oh, Hitman, I should play that. And then I look at the 400,000 different versions that are on sale. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to buy? And I just haven't made that plunge yet. So that can stay on for now. Ugh, whatever. Judgment can stay on because it's Yakuza. Of course I'm playing Judgment. King of the Bridge. What the fuck is this? Oh, it's puzzle chess, but all the rules are fucked up. It's $3. Yeah, I'll play that eventually. I can stay on here. Yep, I'll play Lizard Cube 3 when that comes out. I'll play Lost Judgment. I'll play Mass Effect 2. I'll play Mass Effect 3. Mina Hollower, Monster Hunter 4, Monster Hunter Pokémon 3rd. Still haven't played the Outer Wilds DLC. That'll happen eventually. Yeah, I was talking about how I want to play Pokemon Trading Card Game Boy 2. Pony Island 2 can stay on. Rondo of Blood. Yeah, I'll replay it. I'm going to take off Season. I decided that. I hear that's good, but I feel like this is just one of those games where if I was actually that interested, I'd probably have played it by now. Same with Sigmalus. Same with Solar Ash. So I put Solar Ash when I was doing my first one of these backlog streams. Solar Ash was one of the first games I put on the backlog. So I was like, yo, visually that game is stunning. I want to check that game out. What I've heard about that game is it's basically narrative, and that the gameplay itself is actually not that in depth or interesting. So that's kind of like really sunk my motivation for that game. Sorry. Why the hell is Star Fox Adventures on here? Yeah, that can stay. I'll emulate that someday. I'll play this shitty game that sucks ass. Take out Tom. I don't care. Okay, Twitter bookmark. This is an interesting inclusion. I have not used Twitter in probably a couple years now. I forget exactly when the last time it is I've used it. That being said, I had reason to open it recently, just like check a DM or something. And I remembered that in my bookmarks, I had been bookmarking a lot of just like ROM hacks, indie games, stuff that I had meant to check in the future and then just forgot about. So I'm just putting this on here, just like, hey, bro, go through your Twitter bookmarks, pull out anything that looks interesting, and actually check those things out. Yeah, the rest of this list can stay. Let me add Okami HD. I don't think I need to add HD. I just know I'll play Okami. I'll put Onimusha on here because Ed keeps bothering me about it. No, I'm interested in checking it out. It's just finding the time and motivation. Is there anything else in here? I don't wanna... What else should I play this year, folks? Anything? Oh yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter Wilds. That's coming out. That's a game that's coming out that I need to play. What else? Is there anything on my Steam wish list that I haven't added on here? Ooh, yeah. That looks interesting. Samurai Unicorn. Look it up. This X0. Remove Ultra Kill from my wish list. I decided I don't care. Don't care about that. I think this is where I'm going to end this. I've got a decent backlog of 50 more games that I'm vaguely interested in checking out this year. That being said, several of these are Mass Effect and Xenoblade and more UFO 50, and these are going to take many hours. So, and also Monster Hunter's on here. Oh my god, Monster Hunter, many of them. Who knows how many of these I'm actually going to get through? Because last year I played like 50 some games, and this year I played like 30, but the games I played were just fucking long. So, we'll see. Thank you for keeping me company as I just randomly talk about games that I played and liked and didn't like this year. I'll see you folks again in 2026.